Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Mindset Shifts and the What Ifs, weekly show where I let a wheel of chance choose a topic for me. And then I talk about it for a little while. So, welcome in. And I hope you're all having a really good evening. And let's see what our topic will be today. All right. Let's do a quick screen share here. There we go. Cool. All right. Here is our wheel. And here comes our topic. Side gig. Great topic. Very exciting. Awesome. Cool. So we're going to talk about side gigs tonight, and we'll talk a little bit about sort of how they come about, how people get into them, get excited about them, get lost in them, and I'll start by telling you a little bit about my past experience with side gigging, and how I got to here from there. So my history with side gigging started early in my career when people came to me to ask for help with their resumes. And it was sort of a natural inroad to side gigging because I worked in HR. I was good at words, and being good at words made it so that people trusted me to look at their stuff. Resume writing led to cover letter writing, led to I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, led to I'm having this challenge with my manager. And eventually I sort of shifted from the occasional ask for a favor to people insisting on paying me. And I think this happens a lot with side gigs, which is we do something as a favor because we're good at it. And so we get asked. And, if you're a designer, a friend asks you to do a logo and you do them a favor and you do a logo for them. If you're in HR, a lot of times you get asked to look at resumes, you look at resumes. And very often I think that we think, and I certainly thought, that if we're good at something and it comes pretty naturally to us and it feels pretty easy for us, that we don't actually consider it a side gig. We consider it a favor. And so the transition for me became when people started insisting on paying me. And it was interesting to have that transition because I still didn't see the value of people paying me for it. So anytime anyone sort of threw me some money for my side gig in resume writing or coaching or consulting, I just, sort of embarrassedly, I don't know if that's a word, but I got a little bit embarrassed and I thanked them and I, just sort of squirreled the money away. And it took me a long time to realize that this was an actual set of skills that other people didn't have, and that I didn't enjoy all of it. And when it came down to it, what I really loved and was best at was the coaching piece, coaching and consulting. So I still took on resumes as favors and resume gigs that were paid because I was good at it. And I felt this sort of responsibility that because I was good at it, I should do it for other people. And what I came to sort of in my emergence into making my side gig as a coach a real side gig that had real value, that collected real money, that charged people, what coaching is worth. That shift happened for me when I realized I was allowed to make choices. And I think a lot of us really get stuck and stay stuck in the favor world. I'm doing you a favor, you'll do me a favor later. what happens with people who are high achievers and people pleasers very often is that we do the favor and then we assume that people forget we've done them a favor and they come back at us later and ask us for another favor. And we think, oh, at some point I'll maybe ask for something. And we're sort of keeping score in our heads. And we also put like a time limit on what score we're keeping. So, if I need design work done and the person who I helped with their resume is also a designer, in my head as a pleaser, I'm going to calculate that too much time in some imaginary timeline, too much time has gone by for them to remember I did them the favor. So I should offer to pay them for the thing that they're going to do. And what happens is we end up doing favors for people and also paying people for doing work for us. You can really get lost in this. And if you are a high achiever and a people pleaser and you are already stretched thin because you're not a good boundary setter at work, you do a lot of favors for people, both at work and off work. Maybe you're a workaholic and you're working, a lot of hours already. And then you're doing these favors, is you start to resent the asks. You start to resent the asks for what feels like hobby work, but actually is work that has value. So the shift for me, and the shift that I've seen in a lot of my clients, was actually recognizing that not everybody can do what I do. Not everybody can do what you do. So your skill could be anything from knitting scarves to teaching someone to market themselves, to teaching somebody how to do public speaking, to resume writing, to coaching, to, name the thing, right? If there is something that you're good at and your people around you come to you because they're used to you doing a favor and also because they don't want to pay somebody for it, that's your sign. That is your sign that this is a potential side gig. And I say potential, I'm going to come back to the word potential in a moment, but that this is a potential side gig for you where you can and have the right to collect money for it. And I say potential side gig because if you want to be doing something on the side, that's your number one choice. Do you even want to be doing something on the side? So the word no plays a role here, right? I'm going to go back to the graphic designer role. My best friend from childhood is a graphic designer, and she's done work for me, and I've done work for her. And we're best friends since we were 12. So we're probably not ever going to charge each other for stuff. But your closest besties are sort of your limit for that if you're thinking about a side gig. So the first thing is, do you like it? Are you doing a favor for somebody because you're really, really good friends and it's something you've done at work or something that you're good at? And all right, this one time I'll do it for you. Or are you good at something that you hate? An example of that for me is Excel. I'm really good at Excel. I hate it. I never liked it. But if you need me to build a spreadsheet that has a head sheet with summaries and the formulas carry from other sheets onto that sheet and we're filtering and I can do that. I don't want to. I don't even want to get paid to do that. That's your clue. If it's something that you don't even want anybody to ask you to do, even if they're going to pay you, don't make that a side gig. So that's choice number one, is the thing that you're good at and that maybe is marketable. Is it something that you actually want to do? Second question is, do you have time? Do you have time in the form of physical time? And do you have time in the form of energy needed to perform whatever that thing is? That's the second thing. That's why I say potential, because if either of those answers are no, I don't have the time or energy and I don't want to do it, then don't build yourself a side gig in that thing, because you're not going to get any satisfaction out of it. It's not going to be like a relief from your day job if you're doing something on the side that just feels awful. The next thing to consider if you're going to start a side gig, if you say, yes, I'm interested in this thing that I do, that I've done as a favor, that I've occasionally collected money for, and I have the physical and energetic time for it, then you have to figure out how much do you charge for it. And that's different for everybody. I've seen, if we're talking about resume writing, I've seen resume writers who charge as little as $200. I don't think that's enough. I've seen resume writers who charge $1,500. And sometimes that's the right amount, depending on your level and the complexity and the last time you wrote a resume and how skilled they are. So you have to figure out for yourself, how do you price yourself? What is a fair price for you? And then you have to figure out, where do I fit this in? Is this a weekend thing? Is this an evening thing? Do I have time in the middle of the day? Is my job flexible enough that I can take, an hour at 2:00 on a Tuesday and do client intake and then do the work off hours of my, whatever my day job is? Do I already work for myself and I want a side gig for my main gig where I'm working for myself? Those are some questions to ask yourself. Your availability, whether it's like evenings and weekends or during the day, that doesn't constitute what your pricing is. Your pricing is the value that you are providing to somebody, and your ability to be creative and original and clever and smart in the thing that they're paying you for. Once you've decided you have the time and energy, you found the thing you like, and you know what your pricing is going to be, then the hard thing for we people pleasers of the world, the hard thing then is boundary setting. Saying no to the people that you've said yes to before. Telling people that they can send people to you. If you want to market yourself, if you want it to just be sort of ad hoc side gig, that's okay too. Or getting yourself hired with a company. I keep going back to resume writing because it's like the thing that's sticking in my head, but there are companies who hire resume writers and who have flexible hours for their resume writers. So if you want a side gig where you're collecting $30, $40, $60 an hour doing resume writing or doing interviews for a resume writer and collecting data, like that's a perfectly reasonable side gig to have. And a lot of those companies will hire you and say, like, you get to schedule your time. We'll tell you who the client is, and we want you to connect with them within 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever it is. But, you report back when you've done the work, how long it took you, and, we'll pay up to this amount. If you want to set your own side gig up, you get to decide. Do you want a website? Do you want word of mouth? Are you helping friends of friends? Are you marketing directly into companies? Are you marketing to individuals? And all of that is like big work in progress kind of stuff. But the first thing to decide is whether or not you like the thing. You do not have to pick up a side gig. You do not have to do favors for somebody, for anybody, just because you're good at it, or even because it's your profession. You get to decide. And I think a lot of us get caught up in these feelings of guilt, these feelings of feeling bad about setting boundaries, wanting to be liked. Oh, I love being liked. I love being liked. Being liked is freaking amazing. And also not at the expense of my time and energy and my enjoyment and what I like to do. So if you're thinking about a side gig, and I've had a lot of clients who have come in and they have a side gig and they want to get out of it. I've had clients who want a side gig, but they don't know what it is. I actually had a potential client come and talk to me, and I think we agreed by the end of our conversation that this potential client wasn't in a place to come and work with me because they didn't really struggle with the things that my clients struggle with: boundaries, burnout, people pleasing, workaholism. This person really saw me as a little bit of a mirror image of them, that I had a career as an HR professional and HR executive for several years. And then I pivoted into my own company, and this person was thinking about creating their own company. But this person had a an idea for a technology product, which would probably be like a VC avenue to getting funded. This person had an idea to start an HR consulting business, and also thought maybe they'd like to be a CHRO. So the conversation that we ended up having was like, decide which path you want, and then find the expert who helps you with that. Either, a business advisor who helps people get funding, or a coach or advisor who helps you build a business, or come back to me if you're trying to figure out how to become a CHRO and that's your goal, and you're hitting stumbling blocks in getting the credibility in performance stuff, walls that you keep hitting, right? Like, those are the clients that I work with who are trying to get promoted and can't figure out what the issue is. They don't, and the feedback is, be more strategic, or delegate more, or speak up more. Like, I help with all of that kind of stuff, but that wasn't this person's struggle. This person was trying to decide, do I start one of these things as a side gig, or do I just like keep going along and build up to CHRO level? Great questions to ask yourself. What do I want to be doing? And the other thing to start considering when you have a side gig is, where do you want that side gig to go, if anywhere? Do you want that side gig to become something that becomes your main gig? In my case, when I started taking coaching seriously and I started charging people reasonable prices for coaching, instead of just like, oh, well, no, you don't have to pay me, but whatever you want to pay me. Then I realized that I wanted it as a career, and it could be a career and not just a side gig. And I worked my way into that with the help of coaches. I worked with an executive coach, then I worked with a business coach. And I've had a couple of different kinds of coaches throughout my time pursuing this career as a full-time coach. If you have questions about this, if you want to talk about this more, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk more on lives about how I've side gigged and how I built my business into a business. And I love when I'm working with clients who take control of boundaries and burnout, and speaking up for their seat at the table, and then develop a side gig. And I've helped with developing a side gig and with figuring out pricing and all of that kind of stuff, and helped people understand what their value in the market is and how they can contribute to society in a way that is going to be profitable for them, enjoyable for them, and not cause additional burnout to the burnout that we may already have going on. I'm going to leave you with that tonight. Just a reminder that I am in the midst of a 30-day in a row live adventure. Today is, I think, day 5. And I'm doing this challenge with my business coach, Katie McManus. And we have an agreement that if either one of us does not go live on one of the days, that we both get a consequence on the days that we miss individually. We don't both have a consequence if one of us misses it. But if I miss a day, then I have to post an unflattering picture of myself, chosen angle or outfit or whatever, chosen by Katie. And if she misses a day, she has to sing a song of my choice on video, the full song. So I'm rooting for us both to be able to go live every single day. And I'm also rooting for us to have, 1 or 2 days where we sort of miss the boat and have a little bit of a consequence, because the consequences are kind of fun. Anyway, have an amazing night. So great to be here with everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.